What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Lakia Fashay. Thank you for tuning in to another episode on that Fashion Chick Metaverse. In original design made by yours truly, Lakia Fashay. It's a fun, cute tote bag. It's called the Drawstring Tote Bag. And it's just something cool for casual. It has a little boho, bohemian style. It's for, that chickadee in you just on a casual day. Let's get into it. First, you want to start with your supplies. Okay, so it's canvas, fabric, the lining, and a button, and all of these things should match together along with the thread. The thread should also match the lining and the fabric. The interfacing, elastic, needle, sew pins, and cushion. A large safety pin, ruler, scissors, sewing machine, and an iron. All right, so this is the pattern I made from scratch, right? Clearly, that's okay though. The items actually, I made some changes to this pattern. So let's go over the disregarded items. So we're no longer going to add the side detailing, which is on the bag sketch and the pattern piece that goes along with it. I decided to change the pattern to a more simpler. Instead, it was a little complex and a little more too detailed to add those items. I'll change the design later and probably use those on a different bag or something. We're also going to take away or disregard the top stitch on the bag and which is at the bottom. So that stitch line at the bottom, you can see the label there. Yeah, I disregard that. And then the bag bottom detailing, that was supposed to be a base. That was supposed to you know how bags have feet on them? I was just going to make a flat base, but I would need something a little more sturdy, a little more supplies for that, and a little more time to work with it. Anywho, changes. And the simple changes we're going to go with are, I made it. The drawstring bag width is now going to be 15.5 inches wide. And then the lining base width is now 12.5 inches, as you can see right there. So, yeah, let's keep it pushing. Now we're going to start out with the pattern. And before you cut out your pattern pieces and get to the sewing fun part, you have to press your fabric and lining before all the cutting, because if it's wrinkled, it's going to throw off your measurements and the fit will be off. And you also may want to pre-wash. That's usually with garments. I always pre-wash my fabric before I make clothes and items and stuff, because I am a designer by trade. I went to school for this. So this is just professional, basic 1-2 101 of designing. So pre-wash if you'd like, but I recommend it. But let's start with the smaller pieces. And right here on the screen is the smaller pocket. And what you're going to want to do is press the interfacing to the wrong side of the smaller pocket. Then stitch a 1/2 inch seam allowance at the top of the pocket, as you see in the second picture. It's pinned, but the interface is on there, and I added the stitch. Next, you want to take the larger pocket and with right sides together, fold the pocket trim piece over the edge of the large pocket. That's at the top edge, right? Then you want to fold the pocket trim over the initial edge, then fold it under again, because you want to hide that hem of the trim. You want to hide that raw edge. You want the hem to be a plush, clean line that's invisible. The top stitch should be over the hem line slightly. After you get your new pocket together, pieces of your pockets together, you're going to make the complete pocket. And you're going to want to sew the pockets together. And this is a little intricate. The larger pocket, the right side, that's what's going to be seen. And then the wrong side of the smaller pocket, which has the interfacing, you want to stitch those together, pin those together. And then you stitch around the edge as so in the picture. And then you'll turn inside out and press. Okay. So after your pocket's all stitched up around the edges and everything, cool. You want to place the wrong side of the pocket on the right side of the lining base. So, and that's going to be the inside part of the bag, right? So you want to, after you place them as far as you can see on the screen, I measured it out to 3 inches at the top, 4 inches on the side, 2 inches at the bottom. You can place it how you want to. I prefer the center, of course. After you do that, you're going to want to top stitch 1/8 seam allowance around the edge. You don't want it to go too far in, because that'll take space away from your pocket. And you kind of want to just cover up that seam line. Then your pocket will be in place. like so, like this. Okay. Now, for the lining, with your pocket attached, right? With wrong sides together, stitch a 1/2 inch seam allowance to the lining base pattern. Base fabric, which is the big square piece right there, big white square piece. Then you're gonna want to turn that inside out, press it, okay? Then you're gonna top stitch a 1/2 inch over the original seam line. That gives it a clean look, okay? And it hides the hem because it's gonna be inside the bag, so you won't see any raw edges. Now we're gonna go to the bag base, okay? You're gonna want to stitch the side seams, both sides, because the this piece is cut on the fold, so the bottom, of course, is closed. So you want to stitch both sides of the bag base with right sides together. Stitch the side seams, turn it inside out, and press. We're ready to attach the handle, okay? This item is the handle pattern, right? So you're going to take the interfacing to the edge, pick any edge, but to the edge of the bag handle with right sides together. After you attach the interfacing to one edge of the bag, one edge of the bag handle, then you're going to want to, with right sides together, like the picture down below, you're going to pin it together like a long hot dog. And then you're going to stitch a 1/2 inch seam allowance. You're going to have to turn it inside out. Well, you do want to cut the excess seam allowance, and then you're going to want to turn it inside out and press. But you're going to want to press with the seam in the middle. Okay, here's the example, like this. Looks more professional. That's usually how bags go anyway, right? Now, after we're finished with the handle, we're going to go with the flap closure. So you're going to pick your flap closure piece, and then you're going to add interfacing to one of the pieces to the wrong side of the piece. So that's the side without the pattern. If you pick one that doesn't have a pattern, you just pick the wrong side of the fabric, which should be more of a vague. Even if it has colors, should be like plain. You'll know the difference. So you add the interfacing to the wrong side of that flap closure piece. Then what you're going to do, with right sides together, with right sides together, you're going to stitch a 1/2 inch seam allowance, leaving the top of the flap closure open in the first picture. So I pinned it together so y'all can see. Okay. Then you're going to, then like with the middle picture, okay, I stitched it around. You're going to cut the excess seam allowance too. And around the curves, you're supposed to clip those in. Anything curved, you're going to want to clip the edges just enough, but don't break the seam. Clip to the seam, not just around the edge, but clip towards the seam, anything curved. And then you're going to want to turn that inside out and press, and you'll have the image on the right. Now that we have our flap closure ready for the buttonhole. When you have a button placement to do, buttonhole. Okay, you have to measure out the button using finding your placement. I picked to put the buttonhole 3/4 inch above from the bottom of the flap closure, as the picture indicates. So you'll want to put your button there. You're supposed to draw a line first in the middle. It's like gonna be an I, like the letter I, a capitalized letter I. But you're putting it on the middle line, and you're just gonna draw a line above the button and then below, and then that's gonna be the shape or the measurement for your buttonhole. That's how it goes. Then you'll just go with what the machine settings go for your size button. I had to do this manually because the button I picked was large, because that adds more design to it. But if for smaller buttons, it's usually easier just to knock it out on the machine. But yeah. So then you'll come up with a picture on the right. To open the buttonhole, you'll use your seam ripper, and you'll place it at the bottom, and you'll place I should have took a picture of this, my bad. But you'll place one of those sewing pins at the top in the middle of the thread, so you don't go over the stitching. So, and you'll just sever the fabric in the middle. and then open the hole up. If you need to hand stitch it, you know, for fraying and all that, then you can hand stitch any extra fray edges. All right, so now we're going to move on to the bag base. So, and we're going to add that elastic casing for the gathering to the bag base. So what you're going to want to do is fold the top of the bag base 2.5 inches down. All right. Then to attach the lining base, you're going to want to like put just enough fabric under there to catch for the bag base and the lining base to be stitched together. You want to put just enough under there. You don't have to slide it all the way up to the rim of the fold where the bag base is, but that's how I did it. Now, if you slide it up there, you're going to miss out on a lot of fabric at the bottom and back space. So you're going to want to place the lining base under the hemline. Then you're going to want to fold 1/2 inch under the edge of that same bag base at the bottom, like the folded part, the edge. You're going to fold that under again because you want to hide the raw edge, right? And you're going to want to top stitch that around together, also leaving a gap for the elastic insertion. And you want to just press that. And it should look a little something like this. Okay? Clean lines. You just don't want a raw edge right there. And definitely leave that gap in there. Not too big, but big enough for your size elastic. Okay, before we add the elastic, we're going to want to follow through with attaching the flap closure. So we're going to call this the flap closure placement. You're going to start with folding the open end of your flap closure 1/2 inch under. Okay. Then you're going to want to place it in the middle at the top of the backside opening of the bag base. So as the picture indicates, all you're going to want to do is make sure there's enough edge to go over for hold. You don't want to stitch it right on the fold. You get what I'm saying? And then you're just going to want to line up a stitch with the stitch that's already there on the bag base. Okay. And then any excess fabric under the flap closure, just cut it enough to where it's decent. Okay. And it should look like this, right? Nice and flush with lines. Now, before we add the elastic, we already have the flap closure. We're going to add the handles. Okay. And it's the same kind of process with the flap closure. This time with the handles, just for a little more sturdiness, you're going to want to like add a little more space when you fold the ends, the open ends, and attach across the line to stitch the top stitch. You just want to add probably like 1/2 inch space, and then top stitch in place. And then, of course, cut any excess fabric to where it's nice clean edges under there. And it should look something like this. Okay. Here's the fun part. Did I say fun part? Here's the fun part. Okay, the grand finale. Insertion of elastic. Okay, so you're going to want to insert the elastic through that gap. So you're going to first attach the safety pin to about 1/2 inch down of the top part of either end of the elastic. And then you're going to slide and pull, slide and pull, slide and pull. It'll start to gather and until it gets all the way around. And then you'll you want to stitch the ends of the elastic together. And then you'll hand stitch the gap closed. Of course, staying flush with the lines that's already there on the bag base. It's going to be a little tougher because the bag is going to be gathered at the top, but it's all right. You can do it. And it should look something like this at the top right there. So, well, the real grand finale is adding the button, but the gather at the top is what makes the bag, really. The drawstring tote bag, right? So to put that button in place, all you're going to want to do, because you have to hand stitch it there, just align it with the buttonhole on the flap closure, and then bada boom, bada bing, hand stitch that in place, and it should look something like that, right? Okay. And we all know what we should do afterward. You know, once you make something nice, what you supposed to do? All right, you better, god dang strut, you better work it. You better work it. All right. And that's what it is. Isn't it cute? I made it like casual, cute. It's not super chic. It's not really chic. It's just enough where you could put like cell phone, notebook, some books. You can run to the store with it, run to the beach. Something simple. Of course, it's not like a party bag, but it's something fun, a little pouch. My daughter told me this. I need to extend the handle. So yeah, I'm not really petite, but I'm kind of like small and thin. But I had to, I thought it would be enough, 40 inches, but it's all good. Anyway, strut that thing, okay? And then let's look inside. See, nice, spacious enough. Something cool, something quick. You just grab it, go to the store, put your wallet in it. It's so cute. All right. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And Studio El Fashe, pattern to product, because I do make items for my chickadees and when I do events and for my boutique store on TFC, which is catalog order only. So yeah, more things coming, more things are being in the making, and catch you on the flip side.
She's a fashionista, a trend-setting queen. Her style is a fusion of everything, from bohemian fringes to a tomboy flair.